Adrian Hayes had always been the kind of young man who turned heads without even trying. With his sharp jawline, tousled dark hair, and eyes that seemed to catch the sunlight just right, he moved through the university corridors like he owned them, though in reality, he carried a quiet humility that most people didn't notice at first. In the sprawling campus of Eastbrook University, where students rushed between classes, lectures, and coffee breaks, Adrian seemed to float just slightly apart from the chaos, a silent observer of the world around him. Every morning, he arrived early, carrying a worn leather backpack filled with notebooks and books that smelled faintly of parchment and ink. His routine was meticulous, almost ritualistic. A short jog across the quad, a quick stop at the library for the latest journal entries in his economics course, and finally, a seat in the corner of the lecture hall where he could see everyone without being seen. Adrian's reputation had already spread far beyond the small circle of people who actually knew him. He wasn't just handsome, he was intelligent, articulate, and surprisingly humble for someone who could have let his looks and talents make him arrogant. At the beginning of the semester, it wasn't uncommon to see girls whispering behind his back, stealing glances when he wasn't looking. Some tried subtle ways to get his attention, a carefully timed question in class, leaving their notes accidentally on his desk, or arranging group projects so that they could work alongside him. Boys, on the other hand, watched him with a mixture of admiration and envy, often trying to strike up casual conversations or jokes, hoping to get a piece of his effortless charm. Adrian, however, had little interest in the attention. He smiled politely, sometimes even cracked a joke, but there was a subtle shield around him, a quiet focus that made it clear he wasn't swayed by flattery. That shield, however, began to crack the moment he first saw Emily Carter. It was a rainy Monday morning, the kind where the clouds hung low and the air smelled of wet asphalt and damp leaves. Adrian had ducked into the university's main lecture hall, shaking off his umbrella, when he noticed her sitting 2 rows ahead of him. Emily wasn't just beautiful. There was something striking about her presence, a kind of effortless confidence that drew attention without seeking it. Her auburn hair fell in loose waves over her shoulders, and her hazel eyes, bright and inquisitive, scanned the lecture notes with a focus that mirrored his own. For a moment, Adrian's usual composure faltered. He had felt interest before, fleeting sparks of curiosity about classmates, but this was different. It wasn't just attraction. It was a magnetic pull he couldn't ignore. Days passed, and Adrian found himself thinking about Emily at odd moments. While sipping his morning coffee, during a late-night study session, even in the quiet moments before class. He began to notice small details about her, how she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear when deep in thought, how she bit the tip of her pen when she was unsure about an answer, how she hummed softly when she thought no one was listening. These details, seemingly trivial to others, captivated him entirely. His friends noticed the change immediately. "You've got it bad, man," whispered his roommate, Jason. One evening as they pored over finance textbooks in the library, Adrian shrugged, trying to appear nonchalant, but even he couldn't deny the truth. There was something about Emily that made everything else fade into the background. Emily, of course, was not oblivious to the attention. She had grown accustomed to it over the years. Handsome boys, charming guys, even professors occasionally noticed her. Yet, she had always been selective, never allowing herself to be distracted from her studies or her personal ambitions. She had goals, a scholarship, a career that would take her across the world, and a desire to prove that her achievements were the result of hard work, not charm or beauty. Still, Adrian's quiet intensity was different. He didn't shout for attention, didn't make grand gestures, and yet, there was a sincerity in his eyes that made her pause. She caught herself glancing back at him during lectures, wondering why a boy so unattainable seemed so approachable, so real. Their first conversation wasn't in the bustling corridors, nor in a planned meeting. It happened by accident in the campus library. Emily had been struggling to find a reference book, scanning row after row of shelves, when she muttered under her breath in frustration. Adrian, who had been nearby, turned at the sound. "Looking for this?" he asked, holding up the exact book she needed, a faint smile on his face. She blinked, surprised, and accepted it with a grateful thank you. What started as a simple exchange grew into a conversation about the course, the professors, and shared interests. Emily found his humor dry but genuine, his insights thoughtful yet unpretentious. Adrian, meanwhile, felt an unfamiliar warmth, a sense of connection he hadn't experienced before. Word of their growing friendship spread quickly. Adrian, who had once been the object of countless casual crushes, suddenly found himself at the center of a new kind of attention. Girls who had tried to flirt, leave notes, or catch his eye now watched him with frustration, jealousy barely hidden behind polite smiles. Yet, Adrian barely noticed. His thoughts were consumed by Emily. Their conversations became longer, their study sessions more frequent, and slowly, without either fully realizing it, a bond formed. It wasn't just attraction, it was companionship, shared laughter, mutual respect, and a sense of being understood. But with this newfound closeness came challenges. Emily had a past she rarely shared, a protective shell built from previous disappointments. Adrian, though sincere, struggled to navigate the unspoken boundaries she set, the moments of hesitation, the occasional cold distance that made him question his own worth. Meanwhile, the university's social dynamics continued to play out around them. Rumors spread, whispers grew louder, and the very attention Adrian had once shrugged off now became a source of tension. Friends tried to advise him, "Just enjoy the attention," they said. But Adrian knew it wasn't about popularity anymore. It was about Emily, about something deeper that neither of them could yet fully articulate. Every encounter, every shared secret, and every fleeting touch carried weight. A casual brush of hands while passing books, a look exchanged across the library, a shared laugh over a professor's quirky comment. These moments became milestones in a slow, intricate dance. Adrian's admiration for Emily's intellect, kindness, and quiet strength grew daily. Emily, in turn, found herself drawn to his unwavering focus, his humility, and the subtle ways he showed he cared without demanding anything in return. Yet, tension lingered in the air like a storm waiting to break. There were those who envied the connection between Adrian and Emily, classmates who thrived on gossip and manipulation. Some tried to interfere subtly, planting seeds of doubt, while others openly challenged Adrian, testing his patience and resolve. But he remained steadfast, guided by a growing certainty that what he felt for Emily was unlike anything else, pure, intense, and unshakable. Late nights in the dorm became their refuge. They would sit with textbooks open but barely read, discussing dreams, fears, family, and future plans. Adrian learned about Emily's younger brother, who she cared for like a second parent, about her ambitions to make a mark in international law, and the moments that had shaped her strong, determined persona. Emily learned about Adrian's childhood in a small coastal town, the hours spent working part-time jobs to support his education, and the philosophy that guided his life, honesty, diligence, and compassion. In those moments, the world outside faded. The pressure of admirers, social dynamics, and academic stress mattered less than the quiet understanding between them. Adrian found himself writing notes for her, simple messages of encouragement that made her smile even on difficult days. Emily, in turn, shared her favorite poems, music, and sketches, small windows into her inner world. Their friendship was deepening into something neither wanted to name yet, the tension between attraction and restraint adding a sweet, painful edge to every interaction. Even as the semester progressed, challenges mounted. Adrian's friends tried to distract him with parties, outings, and flirtations, but his focus remained unbroken. Emily faced pressures of her own, family expectations, scholarships, and personal doubts, but Adrian's support became a steady anchor. Their bond, tested by time and circumstance, grew resilient. In a university where superficial connections were common, theirs was rooted in something rare and real. And yet, the story was just beginning. Every glance, every conversation, every fleeting moment of shared laughter was laying the foundation for a deeper, more intense connection that neither Adrian nor Emily could ignore. Little did they know, the coming weeks would test their feelings, challenge their patience, and push them toward decisions that could change their lives forever. For now, the quiet thrill of discovery, the gentle tension of unspoken emotions, and the magnetic pull between two souls set the stage for a drama that would captivate not just themselves, but everyone watching their story unfold. As the autumn semester unfolded, Adrian and Emily's bond grew stronger, though neither of them had admitted what they truly felt. Every day, the university corridors became a theater where glances, small smiles, and fleeting touches carried a secret weight. Adrian found himself anticipating moments he could spend with Emily, sitting in the sunlit corner of the library, walking across the quad while discussing a lecture, or laughing quietly at a shared joke during lunch. Yet, there was an invisible wall between them, built of caution, unspoken fears, and the subtle pressure of everyone else watching. Emily, who had always prided herself on self-control and emotional clarity, felt a strange and unsettling pull whenever Adrian was near. She caught herself staring when she thought no one was looking, memorizing the way he furrowed his brow in concentration or the way his lips curled slightly when amused. She hated that she couldn't stop thinking about him. But Emily had learned to guard her heart, and she wasn't about to let a charming boy, no matter how genuine he seemed, distract her from her goals. Still, there was a softness in Adrian that was impossible to resist, and for the first time, she felt something entirely new, vulnerability. The tension between them reached a new height during the university's annual fall festival, a week-long event filled with competitions, music, and student showcases. Adrian and Emily had reluctantly agreed to join a debate team together, not wanting to appear too eager yet secretly thrilled to spend time collaborating. The festival atmosphere was electric. Stalls decorated with banners, lights twinkling as dusk settled in, and laughter echoing across the campus lawns. They spent long hours preparing, poring over notes and practicing rebuttals, their shoulders brushing as they reached for the same paper, sending sparks that neither could deny. Despite the excitement, not everyone was happy about their growing closeness. Vanessa, a strikingly popular girl in their year who had long admired Adrian, watched with thinly veiled jealousy. She had tried every trick in the book, flirty smiles, casual touches, and even orchestrated accidental meetings, but Adrian had never wavered. Now, seeing him work closely with Emily, her frustration simmered. She whispered to her friends, plotting ways to interfere, sowing seeds of doubt, and trying to create misunderstandings. Yet, Adrian and Emily's mutual respect and careful trust proved resilient, though the tension added a subtle undercurrent to every interaction. One evening, as the festival's fireworks illuminated the night sky, Adrian found himself walking Emily back to her dorm. The crowd had thinned, leaving only a few late-night revelers and the soft glow of lamps lining the paths. Emily laughed at a joke Adrian had whispered, and for a fleeting moment, everything else, the noise, the stares, the pressure of the university, disappeared. Adrian hesitated, the words he had been holding back for weeks lodged in his throat. Finally, unable to resist the pull any longer, he whispered, "Emily, there's something I need to tell you." Her hazel eyes met his, wide and expectant, and her heart beat faster. She sensed the gravity in his tone, the unspoken depth behind his calm exterior. I like you," Adrian admitted, his voice barely above a whisper but filled with sincerity. Emily froze, processing the confession. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. All the small moments, the shared laughter, the quiet companionship, they suddenly gained new meaning. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, a rush of emotion she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. I like you too," she whispered back, a smile breaking across her face. The world seemed to pause around them, the distant fireworks, the faint chatter of students, the cool night breeze, it all became background to the intensity of that shared moment. From that night onward, Adrian and Emily navigated a delicate balance between newfound intimacy and the public scrutiny of the university. Holding hands in quiet corners, sharing study sessions late into the night, and exchanging secret smiles across lecture halls became their way of expressing feelings they couldn't yet declare openly to the world. But romance in a university setting rarely remains untouched by drama. Vanessa's jealousy intensified, and she orchestrated a confrontation during one of their group study sessions, accusing Emily of being manipulative and Adrian of favoritism. The tension was palpable, voices raised, and for a brief moment, Adrian felt the weight of every envious eye on them. Yet, his focus never wavered. Calm but firm, he defended Emily with words that left no room for doubt about his loyalty and intentions. Emily, stunned but grateful, realized just how deeply Adrian cared, not just for her, but for their shared connection. Amid the social chaos, academic pressure mounted. Midterms loomed, and both Adrian and Emily faced sleepless nights, balancing assignments, exams, and extracurricular responsibilities. Adrian, who had always been disciplined, struggled to find time for both his studies and the relationship he now cherished. Emily, equally driven, grappled with her own ambitions while navigating the delicate dynamics of a campus now buzzing with whispers and speculation. Yet, in the quiet of late-night study halls and empty lecture rooms, they found solace in each other. Adrian would make her coffee just the way she liked it, and Emily would leave encouraging notes tucked into his notebooks. These small gestures became anchors, grounding them amid the unpredictable waves of university life. Their story, however, was not without deeper challenges. Emily's past, experiences with betrayal and heartbreak, haunted her, sometimes causing her to pull away just when Adrian felt closest. Adrian, though patient and understanding, felt the sting of rejection when Emily grew distant, her walls rising in response to fears he could not always see. Their love was tested by miscommunication, jealousy, and the constant presence of those who envied their closeness. Yet, every time they overcame a hurdle, their bond strengthened, adding layers of trust, resilience, and understanding that neither had anticipated at the outset. As the semester wore on, Adrian's circle of friends became protective, often stepping in subtly to ensure that nothing disrupted the growing romance. Late-night walks, shared meals, and weekend outings became sanctuaries. Yet, the public eye remained watchful. Rumors spread, Gossip circulated, and Emily's every action was scrutinized by those who envied her connection with Adrian. She learned to navigate this scrutiny with grace, supported by Adrian's unwavering faith in her. In turn, Adrian discovered that love wasn't just about admiration. It was about patience, understanding, and defending what mattered most. Unexpectedly, an opportunity arose for Emily to participate in an international debate competition, a prestigious event that could significantly impact her academic career. The excitement was tempered by the reality that this would take her away from campus for several weeks. Adrian's heart sank at the thought of separation, but he masked his worry behind supportive smiles. "You have to go," he said, forcing his voice to remain steady. "This is your dream, Emily. I'll be here when you get back." Her eyes shimmered with gratitude, and for the first time, she truly felt the depth of his commitment. Their final night before her departure became a mixture of celebration and quiet, bittersweet longing. A night where they held hands longer than usual, whispered promises, and allowed themselves to fully feel the weight of what they shared. And so, as Emily left for the competition, Adrian faced a world that suddenly felt emptier. The hallways seemed quieter, the library corners lonelier, and even his studies lacked the spark of shared enthusiasm. Yet, he wrote letters, sent messages, and counted down days until her return, each word and thought carefully chosen to express his feelings without overwhelming her. Meanwhile, Emily, amid the intensity of international competition, found herself drawing strength from their shared moments, her heart anchored by the knowledge that someone believed in her wholly. When she returned, the reunion was quiet but electric. No grand gestures, just a long, lingering embrace and a whispered "I missed you." The experiences apart had deepened their understanding and solidified their connection, proving that their bond could withstand distance, envy, and the pressures of academic life. And though challenges remained, jealous peers, demanding coursework, and the uncertainties of life, the foundation they had built was unshakable. For Adrian and Emily, love had become not just a feeling, but a shared journey, a partnership rooted in trust, respect, and a profound understanding of one another. The semester advanced, and the university's campus seemed to pulse with life in a way that both exhilarated and exhausted Adrian and Emily. Their relationship, once a quiet secret, had begun to attract whispers and sideways glances, though the couple remained determined to keep their connection strong despite the noise. Every day brought new challenges, subtle tests of loyalty, and unexpected surprises that forced them to grow closer and rely on one another more than ever. Vanessa, having failed to sway Adrian before, had escalated her tactics. No longer content with subtle schemes, she began orchestrating more calculated efforts to disrupt their relationship. She spread rumors, misrepresented conversations, and attempted to isolate Emily from her closest friends, all while maintaining a facade of innocence to the faculty and administration. Adrian noticed the tension, and while he had always been confident in his love for Emily, he now realized that love alone might not be enough to protect them from the jealousy and manipulation swirling around them. Emily, on the other hand, had grown more assertive in her feelings. The time apart during the international debate competition had strengthened her resolve, teaching her the importance of standing up not only for herself but also for the people she loved. She had learned to anticipate Vanessa's moves, responding with clever strategies that both shielded their relationship and subtly exposed the rivals' intentions. Despite this, there were moments of self-doubt. Emily often wondered if Adrian's admiration would falter under pressure or if the scrutiny of their peers would eventually wear them down. These fears haunted her at night, creating a quiet tension that only Adrian's presence could soothe. Amid this social battlefield, the academic challenges intensified. Midterms and major project deadlines loomed, forcing Adrian and Emily to balance their emotions with rigorous study schedules. They found themselves working late into the night, sometimes at the library, sometimes in Adrian's dorm room, their conversations shifting between lectures and whispered personal confessions. The exhaustion of academic demands made their moments together all the more precious. Every laugh shared over a pile of notes, every hand held in quiet solidarity, became a declaration of commitment and a sanctuary from the pressures outside. One afternoon, as the fall rains poured down and the campus streets glistened under the stormy sky, Adrian and Emily were caught in a sudden downpour. They ran for shelter under a small covered walkway, dripping and laughing despite the soaked clothes and muddy shoes. In that moment, all the drama and tension, the jealous rivals, the gossip, the constant vigilance, faded. Adrian took Emily's hand and held it firmly, the warmth of their connection momentarily overpowering the chill of the storm. "You know," he murmured, "no matter what happens, I'm not letting anything come between us." Emily smiled, leaning into him, feeling the truth of his words in the very pulse of her heart. Yet, life rarely allowed moments of peace to last long. Vanessa's influence spread further when she cleverly enlisted the help of a few other envious students, creating scenarios where Adrian and Emily's intentions were questioned. There were staged accidents in the cafeteria, whispered comments in lecture halls, and even an anonymous letter sent to Emily, hinting that Adrian might be interested in someone else. The fear of losing each other, even momentarily, added a tense undercurrent to their days. Emily confronted Adrian one evening after class, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and frustration. "Are you really mine, Adrian? Or am I just another distraction for you?" she demanded, her eyes searching his for reassurance. Adrian, with a calm that belied the storm of emotions inside him, took her hands in his. "Emily," he said firmly, his voice unwavering, "I don't want anyone else. You're the only one I've ever cared about like this. I promise you, nothing, not rumors, not jealousy, not anyone else, can change that." The sincerity in his eyes, the unwavering tone of his words, and the firm grip of his hands broke through the last of Emily's doubts. For a moment, the chaos of the campus, the envy of peers, and the weight of university life seemed insignificant compared to the bond they shared. Despite the reassurance, the pressures of daily life continued to mount. Adrian's schedule became grueling as he juggled demanding courses, leadership roles in student organizations, and his unwavering support for Emily. Emily, equally burdened, struggled to maintain her high academic performance while navigating the social minefield Vanessa had created. Their stolen moments, quiet dinners, late-night walks, and secret notes were all the more precious because of the scarcity of time they could spend together freely. Each moment became a treasure, a reminder that their love was worth every challenge and sacrifice. Then came the university's winter formal, a night that promised elegance, celebration, and, for Adrian and Emily, both anticipation and anxiety. Vanessa saw it as the perfect opportunity to undermine their relationship publicly. She spread a rumor that Emily had been seen flirting with another student, a story carefully timed to coincide with the event. The night of the formal was tense, each glance, each whispered word, carrying the potential to ignite scandal. Yet, Adrian remained steadfast, his focus unwavering. When he arrived with Emily, dressed elegantly and radiating grace, he did not hesitate. He held her close, shielding her from prying eyes and ensuring that every public gesture made it clear where his loyalties lay. As the night progressed, the drama unfolded in subtle ways. Whispers followed Emily across the dance floor, snide comments echoed near the refreshment tables, and Vanessa's calculated glare burned through the crowd. But for Adrian and Emily, the external world blurred into insignificance. They danced in quiet corners, exchanged whispered reassurances, and allowed themselves to revel in the joy of their connection. For a brief, magical time, it was just the two of them, a reprieve from the pressures of university life, a reminder of why their relationship had blossomed in the first place. However, the tension was far from resolved. The next morning, Emily received a message that would shake her to her core, an anonymous tip revealing that Vanessa planned a large-scale scheme to humiliate both of them in front of faculty and students during the upcoming final exams week. Panic surged through Emily, but Adrian's response was calm and strategic. "We can't let her control us," he said. "We face this together. Every move she makes, we counter with honesty, clarity, and strength." Emily, reassured but still anxious, realized that their love had evolved. It was no longer just about feelings, it was about partnership, resilience, and the courage to face adversity hand in hand. The weeks leading up to exams became a series of calculated maneuvers. Emily and Adrian meticulously planned their study schedules, coordinated their movements across campus to avoid unnecessary gossip, and relied on a small circle of trusted friends for support. Vanessa attempted to spread her schemes, but every effort was met with careful preparation and unwavering confidence. Each victory, no matter how small, strengthened their bond and reinforced the idea that love could thrive even amid the most challenging circumstances. One evening, as snow began to fall lightly on the university quad, Adrian and Emily shared a quiet moment beneath the softly lit campus trees. The world around them, with all its drama, competition, and jealousy, seemed distant. Adrian brushed a strand of hair from Emily's face and whispered, "No matter what comes, we're stronger together. You and me, against the world." Emily's eyes glistened with tears, not of sorrow, but of profound connection and gratitude. She had learned that love, true love, was not just about attraction. It was about trust, courage, and the unspoken promises kept through the storms of life. And so, as finals approached, Adrian and Emily faced the ultimate test, not just of academics, but of their relationship, their loyalty, and their resilience. They knew challenges were inevitable, but for the first time, they also knew that together, they could overcome anything. The campus, with all its drama and energy, was simply a backdrop to the extraordinary story of two young hearts learning to navigate love, ambition, and the unpredictable twists of university life. The campus had taken on an almost oppressive weight as winter deepened. Snow blanketed the quads and walkways, muffling the usual sounds of student chatter, footsteps, and laughter. Yet beneath the serene surface, tensions ran high. Adrian and Emily, who had been quietly navigating their relationship, found themselves in the center of an invisible storm. Vanessa's relentless schemes, academic pressures, and the intense scrutiny of fellow students made every interaction feel like a delicate dance on a tightrope. Adrian noticed subtle changes in Emily's behavior. She was quieter, more contemplative, and often lost in thought during their study sessions. The spark that usually lit her eyes whenever they were together seemed dimmed, not by a lack of affection, but by the constant shadow of anxiety that Vanessa and the social politics of the university had cast. Concerned, Adrian resolved to give her space when needed, but also to support her in ways she might not even realize. His love for her had matured. It was no longer impulsive, passionate attraction, but a steadfast commitment to protect, encourage, and cherish her. The first incident of the semester that truly tested their relationship occurred during a group project in one of Adrian's advanced courses. Vanessa, having cleverly aligned herself with several other competitive students, inserted subtle sabotages into the assignment, misleading research citations, deliberate errors, and carefully crafted misinformation. Emily, always meticulous and attentive, caught the discrepancies immediately, but the accusations started flying before she could clarify the situation. Whispers in the classroom, snide remarks in the hallways, and pointed glances in the cafeteria painted a picture of Emily as careless and incompetent. The pressure threatened to crush her confidence. Adrian, sensing her distress, acted swiftly. He pulled her aside, away from prying eyes, and whispered words of encouragement that steadied her nerves. "Ignore them," he said, gripping her hand firmly. "I've seen your work. I know your brilliance. Don't let them steal your peace." Emily nodded, tears threatening to spill, overwhelmed by both the injustice and the relief of having Adrian's unwavering support. Together, they corrected the errors, documented Vanessa's manipulations, and presented the project flawlessly, turning a potential disaster into a quiet victory that only a few observant faculty members noticed. Outside the classroom, the social dynamics on campus continued to spiral. Vanessa, frustrated by the couple's resilience, attempted more audacious moves. She orchestrated situations where Adrian and Emily could be misinterpreted, sending anonymous messages to other students implying betrayal or dishonesty. Rumors spread like wildfire, yet each time, Adrian's calm demeanor and Emily's quiet confidence countered the deceit. The two began to understand that surviving the university's social labyrinth required not just love but strategy, intelligence, and, at times, calculated restraint. The winter formal had been a test, but the upcoming midterms loomed even larger. Study groups became battlegrounds, library sessions turned into strategic operations, and every hallway encounter carried the possibility of gossip or confrontation. Emily, who had once relied on her intelligence and wit alone, now learned the importance of perception, timing, and alliances. Adrian, ever the protector, guided her through these lessons, ensuring that she not only survived but thrived. Their relationship deepened under this pressure. Trust, understanding, and unspoken communication became their most vital tools. It was during one particularly frigid evening, as the campus was wrapped in a soft, almost magical layer of snow, that a revelation shook Emily to her core. She discovered a hidden journal belonging to Vanessa, meticulously detailing every scheme, every rumor, and every attempt to sabotage not only her relationship with Adrian but her entire social standing. Reading the pages, Emily was initially shocked, angered, and deeply hurt by the sheer audacity and malice that Vanessa had exhibited. But as she absorbed the details, a quiet resolve took hold. This was no longer about fear or self-preservation. It was about justice, honesty, and reclaiming the narrative of her life and love. Adrian's support during this time was unwavering. Every evening, after long study sessions or tense interactions, he would walk with Emily through the snow-laden campus, discussing strategies, venting frustrations, and sharing silent moments of comfort. These walks became sacred, a sanctuary where the outside world could not reach them. On one such night, under the dim glow of streetlights and the gentle fall of snowflakes, Adrian took Emily's hand and spoke with a conviction that resonated deep within her heart. "We've faced so much already, Emily. But I need you to know, nothing, absolutely nothing, will make me turn away from you. Together, we are unstoppable." Meanwhile, Vanessa's schemes escalated in complexity. She began involving faculty in subtle ways, making anonymous complaints about Emily's behavior, attendance, and alleged dishonesty. The couple, however, had learned to anticipate these attacks. They meticulously documented every interaction, gathered evidence of Vanessa's lies, and began formulating a plan to expose her manipulations without creating unnecessary confrontation. Each success emboldened them further, transforming their love into a powerful alliance capable of withstanding not only social treachery but also the pressures of academic life. Romantic tension intertwined seamlessly with strategic maneuvering. Quiet dinners in the campus cafe, late-night study sessions, and whispered conversations in library alcoves became both moments of connection and planning. Emily and Adrian's love, tested by adversity, evolved into a profound partnership. Each glance, each touch, carried the weight of shared struggles and victories, deepening their bond in ways neither had anticipated when their relationship began in secret. Yet, the final blow to Vanessa's plans came unexpectedly. During an important university-wide debate competition, Adrian and Emily discovered evidence that Vanessa had attempted to manipulate judges and alter scoring outcomes to disadvantage them. Armed with proof and unwavering determination, they presented their case to the faculty committee. The confrontation was tense, dramatic, and filled with the high stakes of both reputation and academic honor. In the end, justice prevailed. Vanessa's attempts were publicly invalidated, her credibility tarnished, and Adrian and Emily emerged victorious, not just in the debate but in reclaiming control over their lives and relationship. With Vanessa's schemes neutralized, the campus began to return to a semblance of normalcy. The couple, having endured trials of jealousy, manipulation, and academic pressure, found solace in the quiet corners of their favorite spaces. The library, the campus gardens, and the small cafe where they first shared a secret smile. Every moment together became a testament to resilience, trust, and unwavering commitment. Adrian and Emily had not merely survived university life. They had thrived, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth, love, and mutual respect. As spring approached, signaling the end of yet another semester, Adrian and Emily faced the future with a profound sense of confidence and anticipation. They had learned the delicate balance of love and strategy, passion and restraint, vulnerability and strength. Each day was a reaffirmation of their bond, a celebration of shared victories, and a preparation for the challenges yet to come. The university, with its trials, rivalries, and social intricacies, had forged not only a love story but a testament to resilience, intelligence, and unwavering loyalty. And so, as cherry blossoms began to bloom across the campus, Adrian and Emily walked hand in hand through the quad, hearts aligned, spirits unbroken, and love stronger than ever. The trials of the past semesters were behind them, leaving lessons, memories, and an unshakable bond that would guide them through all the chapters of their intertwined lives. No rumor, no sabotage, no obstacle could alter the truth that had become undeniable. Together, they were a force unmatched, a story of love, courage, and unwavering partnership in the midst of life's most dramatic challenges. Spring had fully arrived, and with it, a sense of renewal that seemed to seep into every corner of the university campus. The once harsh winter had tested Adrian and Emily in ways they had never imagined. But as the cherry blossoms painted the quads in delicate shades of pink and white, the couple felt a profound sense of relief, triumph, and hope. They had endured betrayals, rumors, academic sabotage, and social manipulation. And yet, here they were, stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected than ever before. The final semester of their university journey carried with it a unique blend of excitement and anxiety. Graduation loomed on the horizon, bringing with it the promise of freedom, new opportunities, and the inevitability of change. For Adrian, a natural leader and strategic thinker, the future meant stepping into a world of possibilities. Business ventures, academic recognition, and perhaps a life beyond the constraints of the campus. For Emily, whose intelligence, grace, and resilience had only grown through adversity, the future promised independence, achievement, and the freedom to pursue dreams without fear. And yet, their shared path made all these prospects infinitely richer. The couple had become a symbol on campus, not just of love, but of perseverance and courage. Students whispered about their unwavering bond, faculty admired their strategic brilliance, and even those who had once doubted them came to recognize their integrity. Adrian and Emily had proven that love, when combined with intelligence, patience, and trust, could overcome even the most relentless adversaries. Vanessa, once a source of tension and anxiety, had faded into the background, her schemes fully exposed, leaving her credibility shattered. It was a satisfying conclusion for those who had suffered her manipulations, but for Adrian and Emily, it was simply a step toward the life they had always imagined. One crisp morning, the couple walked through the campus gardens, the sunlight filtering through blooming branches, illuminating the joy in their eyes. They reminisced about the journey that had brought them here, the initial attraction, the secret glances, the whispers of gossip, the trials that tested their relationship, and the victories that reaffirmed their commitment. Every shared memory strengthened the invisible bond between them, creating a sense of unity and understanding that transcended words. "Do you remember the first time we met in the library?" Emily asked, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. Adrian smiled, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "How could I forget? You were so focused, so unaware of the chaos around you. And yet, I knew, somehow, that you were the one I had been waiting for." Emily laughed softly, leaning into him. "I thought you were just another handsome face. I had no idea you'd become my anchor through all the chaos." Their laughter was interrupted by a sudden realization. They had both grown in ways that neither could have predicted. Adrian's confidence had deepened into wisdom, his charm tempered by responsibility and empathy. Emily's intelligence had blossomed into a formidable combination of intellect, strategy, and grace. Together, they had not only survived the university but had transformed into a powerfully complementary unit, partners in every sense of the word. As graduation day approached, preparations for the ceremony filled the campus with excitement and anticipation. Families arrived, friends gathered, and the air buzzed with a mixture of pride, nostalgia, and nervous energy. Adrian and Emily, dressed in ceremonial gowns and caps, felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Each step they took across the stage symbolized not only academic achievement but also the triumph of love, trust, and resilience over adversity. The moment Adrian and Emily received their diplomas, the crowd erupted in applause. Their peers and professors recognized not just their academic excellence but also the integrity and perseverance that had defined their journey. They shared a look, eyes locked, hearts full, knowing that this was a culmination of every challenge they had faced together. It was a victory far greater than any grade or accolade. It was the validation of their shared life, the affirmation of a love that had endured storms and emerged unshaken. Later, as the campus quieted and the last echoes of celebration faded, Adrian and Emily found themselves alone beneath the ancient oak tree in the center of the quad, a place that had witnessed countless stolen moments, whispered promises, and quiet confessions. Adrian took both of Emily's hands in his, looking deeply into her eyes. "Emily," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "we've faced so much, overcome so many obstacles, and built something extraordinary. I want you to know that no matter where life takes us, my heart will always be yours." Emily's eyes glistened with tears, a mix of joy, relief, and love. "And mine will always be yours, Adrian. You've shown me what it means to be loved, protected, and understood. I can't imagine this life without you." They embraced, a long, unbroken connection that seemed to suspend time itself. Around them, the campus bloomed with life, yet in that moment, nothing else existed except the certainty of their love and the promise of a future together. In the weeks that followed, Adrian and Emily transitioned from university life to the wider world. Adrian's career prospects flourished, guided by his ambition, intelligence, and strategic mindset. Emily pursued her passions with vigor, applying her talents and education to meaningful endeavors that reflected her values and aspirations. Despite the demands of the real world, their love remained a constant, a source of strength, inspiration, and joy. The challenges they had faced on campus, rumors, sabotage, and social politics, became stories of resilience they shared with friends, colleagues, and future students. Their journey inspired others, showing that love need not be fragile or superficial. When built on trust, respect, and shared values, it could withstand even the harshest storms. Years later, as they reflected on their university days, Adrian and Emily realized that the trials they had endured were not mere obstacles but essential steps in shaping their character and relationship. The campus, once a battlefield of jealousy and intrigue, had become the foundation for a love story that would last a lifetime. Hand in hand, they faced the world beyond the university with confidence, hope, and an unwavering bond. They had learned that true love is not measured by absence of conflict but by the courage to face it together, the patience to grow through it, and the unwavering commitment to protect and nurture it. Their story, a journey of attraction, conflict, betrayal, resilience, and triumph, had reached its most beautiful chapter. And as they walked into the future, hearts aligned and spirits united, Adrian and Emily knew that together, there was no challenge too great, no dream too ambitious, and no love too fragile to withstand the test of time.